Hello, Ron Briggs, Blackmore, Vale Honey, and welcome back to what is a soggy start to the October edition of my 1 year in beekeeping. So we are into October now. We're back at it. We've just got back from Apimondia a couple of days ago, which was a fantastic thing to have been part of. Anyway, I've done a video that's been published now, all about Apimondia. So if you want to know about Apimondia, have a look at that one. But here we are, ready to be getting on with October. Tuesday we're giving a talk to the Motcombe WI. They scare me, those ladies. I went to see Sandy Toxteth a while ago, and at the end of her show, she takes questions and answers. And somebody asked her about politics. She said, "Oh no, my dear, I won't be talking about politics. All I will say is that your political system is the best in the world." It's because of a sharp intake of breath. And she said, "No, I mean it. It is the best in the world. The problem is it's just being run by a bunch of idiots." She said, "If I had my way, I'd move them all out and move the WI in. And with my experience of the WI so far, they scare me. They could definitely run this country." So, so we've got to talk to them. What else have we got? We've got the honey show coming up at the end of the month, of which I'm purchasing a new wax melter. So looking forward to that. We've got to get out to the bees and get some feed on them if they need it, and some weighing and all that really good stuff. Loads of boxes to clean up. Post season cleanup's got to be done. So loads to be getting on with. So welcome to October, and let's get on with it. Hello, 4th of October, and I have got next to no filming done this month, even though it's been pretty full on, well, with everything, having just got back from Apimondia. But you know, beekeeping doesn't wait, does it? So we've got loads we're getting on with. So I've had a jar a load of honey, got customers waiting. I've had to finish an article for one of the newsletters, which is the Dorset County Beekeepers newsletter. I have an article I write every time magazine goes out. So we've had that to do. We're on our way now down to give a talk this afternoon. I have been up to the bees. I was hoping to, get all the weights and everything done yesterday, and I've still got that one that I need to put a feeder on the top. I got down there, and for about 2 minutes it was dry. Bees are all flying on every hive, so at least we got to see that. But then the heavens opened and it didn't stop. So after half an hour, I gave up on it. And so I'm hoping to get back after I finish this talk, because it's on the way home. But don't let this sunshine put you off. It is sunshine and showers, but I'm not complaining, because I see how bad you guys have had the storm. It's Storm Amy, isn't it? Up in the north, Northern Ireland, North Wales, Northern England, Scotland, etc. So I'm not complaining. I appreciate some of you guys are without power, but so we need to try and get that done though for the bees. And if we don't get it done today, we'll do it tomorrow. So so we got to get this done, and then we're supposed we ought to start thinking about getting boxes cleaned. Although I'm deliberately holding off on the wax, because I'm going to get a new wax melter at the honey show. So we've got that to look forward to. We'll do a review on that. But anyway, so let's get down and give this talk. So today we're just going to have a little basic insight to the honeybee, what the honeybee does for us. And when I say honeybee, it's the western honeybee. Hello, 5th of October, and we've finally managed to get up to the out apiary, and it's not a bad afternoon actually. All the bees are flying, which is nice. and I'm really pleased with this this apiary. When we went into it just before I went away, if you remember, I said because of the charlock I took it off early, etc, etc. There's some of them were just a little bit light, we fed them, but now they're all packed in. The only worry that is it might be a lot of ivy, but nonetheless they've packed a lot in. I've got this one I'm feeding because it's light, this one I'm feeding, it's light, and the yellow one, all we're doing there is putting a feeder on it, don't need feeding. Right, that's that one done. Where are we at now? Yeah, so that one a little bit light, not too worried about. This one was very light. I'll be surprised if this one makes it through the winter, but yeah, perhaps we should have merged it earlier, but we'll keep feeding them. Hopefully they'll survive. That'll do until we come up next time. Right, so this one feels like it's been nailed to the bench. It's really heavy, so they don't need feeding, but rather than just carrying this feeder around with me, we'll just put it on there like that for the moment, in case we do need to feed it, or I don't know, maybe we've got our, when we start feeding fondant, it's already there. But at least it's one feeder that doesn't need to come off and be cleaned, but it's in the apiary for when we need it. Right, so the only other thing we've got to do in this apiary is look at this one. So, I don't know if you remember telling you, so this was a rescue that was rescued on Thursday. Basically, roofers were putting a new roof on a property, and when they got there, they come across a colony of bees with the roof off, exposed. So obviously we had to do something. It's not the ideal time to be rescuing bees because they're obviously settling down for the winter, but it was either that or pest control, so we needed to give it a go. So the guys that, I didn't do the rescue, but the guy that did the rescue and our association apiary is all within 3 miles of where the rescue took place. So I've offered up my apiary. The bees seemed all right. Wouldn't normally bring them to this apiary. I'd take them to my isolation apiary, but unfortunately that was within 3 miles as well. So anyway, we've brought them up here. The guys are 90% sure, they've not seen the queen, they're 90% sure they got the queen. So we've fed them, they're here, as you can see from the front there, they seem to be quite happy in the location. So again, not ideal, we don't really want to go into colonies this time of year, but we're going to go in here because we want to see if there's a queen. I'm not worried about seeing the queen, but I'm worried about seeing eggs. If we see eggs, great. If we don't, we need to look a bit deeper because this colony's got no chance of getting mated, none whatsoever. So the best thing we can do for it is, if there's no queen, is merge it with probably this one, the one next door. So anyway, let's get another look. And it's the only reason why today we lit the smoker, otherwise we wouldn't have bothered. But these were really gentle apparently, so we might not even need it. Let's have a little look, see how we're getting on. Problem is, the guy that did the rescuing was a little bit, this is pretty much all he had, and the feeder don't quite fit, so the bees can get underneath. So anyway, we've given them some of their honey back again, so we'll do the same again afterwards. Yeah, we'll give them some more in a minute. Right, ladies, we have a little look. Oh, there's still some feed in there. Let's put you across there. Right, not a huge amount of bees in here. Let's have a little look. All right, let's get this middle one out first. Right. I'm going to need, first thing we need to do is I'm going to need to put my glasses on. There's the queen. Well, would you look at that? Let's get a photograph of that. That's really good news. Camera. Good. Right. So with no more ado then, let's get this put back together. So one more thing to do before we close this up. It's obviously not had any Varroa treatment, so we're going to put a little apivar strip in there, and then we'll close them up. They've got loads of room. Okay, this honey that we're giving back to them is theirs. All right, it's not from any other hive. And all we'll do is we'll come back and periodically make sure they're fed. That's nice. And hopefully it'd be really, really nice if we can get those through the winter, because they're a lovely colony, lovely little colony, nice and gentle. Be nice, wouldn't it? So just come back down, and you can see that pumpkins, all the pumpkins are out now. We'll just come and have a little look at this one. I wasn't going to do any filming of this one, just a quick check. But so I've had a look at when I come along with the strap off and check the weight of it, and it felt like it had been properly nailed down, like some of those others at the top there. So seeing as how it's nice and mild, it's about 17 degrees, I thought I'd just flip the top and have a look in the very, very top, because if you remember, this is the one we were rumming an eye on whether we're going to take that super or not. So I know it was 2 weeks, 5 days ago when I was up here, because we've been away and stuff, and there was three frames that had a little bit of wet nectar in them, which we think perhaps from the ivy. So maybe, but they weren't full. The frames weren't completely full, and they had sort of 3 frames in the brood box as well. Well, that thing is properly nailed, and I've just had a look in the top, and every single frame in the super is now full. So, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing. We could have got away if we'd have known of leaving that other super on for a few days, a week or so even, because it'd be interesting. I reckon that I could have got an ivy crop. But there we go, lesson learned. We see what it does next year. Obviously every year is different, but they certainly don't need feeding, that's for sure. In fact, I reckon the next time we feed them will probably be fondant later in the year. Right, it's Sunday. I haven't had a roast dinner for the last 2 weeks, and she must be obeyed, I know, is at home currently making a roast dinner, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'll see you later. Morning. So it's the 11th of October, and we're up early because we are on our way down to the county convention, Dorset County Convention today. Not done a lot of filming, not done a huge amount of beekeeping as such. We got all those jars finished, but as you're aware, I did a talk last weekend, and I also did a talk on Tuesday to the WI, which went very, very well. On both of those, I took honey with me, so I'm almost sold out again. So I'm going to have to get another load done this week. Problem I've got though is I've pretty much completely out of my 8-ounce jars, and I buy my jars when I go to the honey show or the spring convention, and that's top tip for you. So Freeman Harding, who sell jars, they do all the time, they'll do a 10% discount for BBKA members, so that's worth having. But if you order and collect from the spring convention or the honey show, you get an even bigger discount, to the tune of, unless you buy bulk, pallet loads, I think you're going to struggle to find it cheaper. And also what I like about the Freeman Hardy jars is they come in sort of manageable sizes. They come in packs of, I think it's 41 or something like that, with a lid already on loosely and wrapped, so they're already clean, so all they need doing is sterilising. So the honey show's not till the end of the month. We have got some more jars ordered. We're just praying that we got enough just to get us through till then. So all that to do. I haven't been up to the bees since the last bit of filming I did, so we need to get up and do those just literally now, just to check the weights and see if they need feeding. As that's, we'll get up there this week somewhere and do that. And also the apiaries need their hedges trimmed and grass mowed and that sort of stuff. So still lots of stuff to do. But today is a whole beekeeping day, and it's the Dorset Convention. Now, I don't know if you've been to any of these conventions before, but they can be quite good. I obviously go to the Dorset one, but I also get myself out to the Somerset one when they have theirs. and they're really good. They're next to no money. I think today it's £5 for members and £10 for non-members. 10 quid to go in for a day's beekeeping talks, and we got quite a few good ones. So the first one we got is a guy that used to be our seasonal bee inspector. He's given a talk on tropical labs. So he's been over to Thailand and been studying it. Beekeeper himself for many years, and so that's the first talk we got. And then we got the Bastons. I think it was meant to be father and son, but I think it's going to be son now. But they're doing two. One on I think selling honey or setting up a honey business, and the other one on using apodias. So that'll be quite good. There'll be a few stalls there, but I don't know who's turning up to sell. Northern Bee Books are normally there. And then there's two workshops. One, I can't remember the lady's name off the top of my head, but she's going to be making wax flowers. That'll be quite cool. And the other one is going to be me, talking about setting up a honey house, which is obviously what I did. So yeah, it's a bit of a bigger scale, I think, than what I normally speak to in the beekeeping world. It's normally just the local association, so we're moving it up a level, but quite looking forward to that. So what I'll do is when we get down there, I'll do a bit of filming of the day, and so you can see what goes on. So look at this, 12th of October, and we should be having this wildflower area cut down by now, because you're supposed to cut it down and take it all away. But look, it's all still in flower. I've never known a season go on this late. I've just been down in the apiary. Oh look. So I've just been down here, just been tidying up, cutting the grass, hedges, that sort of stuff. But I had to put my bee suit on earlier because they are just absolutely... Bear in mind the sun's not on this now, so it's actually calming down. I don't know if you can see that, look. And that's ivy they're still packing in. So the other thing I do is need to apologise. I did say that I would, at that Dorset convention that we had, I'd get some footage, and I didn't. Basically, when I got there, I ended up, like you do, talking to loads of people, different beekeepers, and then they asked me to, if I wouldn't mind running the raffle for them, so I did that. So I sat at that table, and then obviously gave my own talk, and she didn't get around to do any filming. But that said, one of the speakers, a lad called Steve Riley, who's also written a book, and it was really interesting. So his talk was on Varroa resistant bees. It was really, really interesting because it's something that I've been striving towards, because I've seen, I'm not sure if it's him I've seen before, or somebody do a talk on it, and that's why all this year you've noticed I've been regularly testing my bees. About 45% of my colonies this year I didn't treat at all. 55% I did treat, and it was interesting that what Steve said, that you can't just stop treating. That's detrimental to the bees. You've got to slowly build it up with your Varroa resistant hygienic bees. So that's really, really interesting, and I think certainly we've got this tropical labs coming, haven't we, in a big way. So if we get our bees to deal with these things themselves, it means we're putting a lot less chemicals and things into them. So it was really interesting, his talk. And he kind of said what I already knew, but he put it in such a way that was really easy to understand. So I think the more him and his group of people, and he's getting more and more widespread, give their presentations and lectures, the better it's going to be. And I think he's going to do a year's update at the Honey Show, so I'm going to go along and watch that one. But that was really interesting and encouraging to think, yes, it's not just me. There's lots of people doing it, and we're sort of striving towards Varroa resistant bees, and also with this tropical labs and things coming, not importing so much. So actually breeding our own. So anyway, that was really, really interesting. Something that we'll be talking about over the coming over the coming 12 months, etc. Right, so that's this little apiary done. I've already done the one at home. The other one, the out apiary, we'll do in a couple of days' time. So I think now we've got to go and do some revision, because the other thing that's coming up is the next module exam. And I'm going to be doing module 5 biology. And I'll be completely honest with you right now, I've already got a feeling it's going to be a failure, because we're only a month away and I've literally just opened the books, and I'm not academic. So I don't think I'll be getting all that knowledge inside me within a month, but we'll have a go anyway. Right, let's get on. Hello, it is the 18th of October, and we're back in the out apiary again. So I've done what I always do when I come to my out apiary, or any of my apiary, especially in the winter, and that is I've started at number 1. I've gone all the way down and taken all the straps off, and then what I do, then I work back towards the van, and once I've inspected or done whatever I'm doing to the hive, I then put the strap back on and it's done. And then I can work my way down. So for example, I'll do one that maybe need a bit of feed. I'll just leave the strap off, maybe put the lid back on loosely and work my way down. And then all I've got to do is come back and do the ones that haven't got the straps on. And at the end, when I do my last walk through, I just check there's a strap on every one. It's just a way for me to know that I've done every single colony. So the nukes were good. We're starting to take feeders off now and replace them with insulation, which I'll show you when I do the next one. So we've done a couple of those, but this one was one of those ones that was light and is still light, so might need feeding. So we've not taken the feeder off yet, but with this one, because the weather's okay today, although I don't know, finally I think autumn has arrived. So when I was driving up here, all the leaves on the road, the trees are dropping their leaves. As I'm looking around now, they're all the leaves are turning the colours of autumn, which I think is about right. It's been a strange old year, isn't it? I showed you earlier on a couple of days ago, my wildflower patch is still in bloom, which I unheard of. And one of my tutors, she messaged to say she got a swarm is underneath her hive. And as a result of that, that's been on the obviously in our chat group, and a few people are talking about swarms. I mean, I've seen swarms in August, which is a bit unusual. I have heard of the odd one or two in September. I've never seen one, but October, that's just mad. So anyway, so I have lit the smoker just because of this one. The weather's warm enough. I think today's the last day though, then it's going to turn rubbish. So I just want to pop the lid and have a quick look inside, because it's really light, this colony. See what's going on. Okay, yep, still a fair few bees in there. They're just really light. They're all on the front there. So we'll give them some feed, and they should be all right. Right, ladies. Not sure when I'm going to get back, so we'll give them a good feed. We'll fill the feeder up, and that's it. Okay, so this one's one of my bellow hives. It's poly hives, and the bees doing well. So I've put the feeder on it, just in case we needed to feed them. But this is just all 4 fingers for this one. It is nailed to the ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the feeder, because we don't need it. We might as well do it now whilst the weather's half decent, because this one will not be fed until we come to the fondant. So all we've got to do with this one is remove the feeder, which is now stuck. Woohoo, look at you girls. See, much better to do this whilst the weather's sort of relatively warm, and then we can do that near the front. Let's get the bees out of it. Good. So it's a good idea to get these feeders off. I mean, the weather's not bad today. We've taken that one off. Few bees are flying. At least they'll find their way back. If that's taken when it's really cold, then those bees might suffer. But the other good thing is, if you take your feeders off when you know you're no longer going to need them, you can get them cleaned up, hopefully before they go mouldy. Cleaned up and put away just makes life a little bit easier in trying to get the mould off, doesn't it? Okay, so we've hefted this one. It's got a good weight in it. It's got a really nice weight in it, and it's got plenty of bees in it, but it's not as heavy as the others. So I'm not happy yet to remove the feeder, and in fact I've just given them a bit more feed. It doesn't hurt. If they take it, they take it. If they don't, they don't. Look at this. I don't know if you can see this. I think this is where the ladybugs are hanging out. It must be quite warm in here. Yeah, so we talk about ventilation, but look, completely propolised up. This one, look, completely propolised up, and I don't think these others had anything in it, but it just goes to show how heavy they are and what the ivy's been like, because look, they've built right up into these into every single space they've got. So is that a concern that they're building up into here and everywhere and they've got no space? Normally, yes, I would say yes, but again, this year's been a funny year, hasn't it? So the old the ivy flow has been, I'm going to take this away, this feeder. The ivy flow's been huge this year, so they've bought loads in, and people are maybe worried that it might be honey bound. Honey bound is where they've got no room for anything else, they're just full of honey, full of stores. I don't think that's so much of a problem at this time of year, although I suspect that's the reason why there's been a couple of swarms, is because they've got no room. But I think what's going to be happening, because it's so mild, they've carried on laying eggs, more brood, in order to take advantage of what's going on. So that's going to stop very soon if it hasn't already, and the numbers in the colony are going to decrease massively, really quite quickly. So they'll have enough space for the brood as the numbers die. So I don't think that potentially is going to be the drama. So not too worried about that. But what is, I think, could potentially be an issue is the ivy. So let's have a little a chat about that. Ivy is one of these plants that they forage on, and it granulates really quickly. But because late in the year, it's a really good source of food for them. It's kind of the last major crop of the year. And this year, the ivy has been really good. In fact, in hindsight, we could have probably even got away with leaving a few supers on and having an ivy crop, which would have been quite nice. I've never done that, so that would have been interesting. We'll have to keep that in the back of the mind for next year. So what happens with ivy? Ivy goes in and granulates, and then what they need, they'll still use it. It's not a problem, they can use it, but what they need is water. So they need to go out and forage water in order to get some water into that ivy that's granulated in the comb in order to make use of it. And that's where the problem is. So all the time that they're not in cluster, that's absolutely fine. All the time they're flying like they are today, that's absolutely fine. The problem comes is when it gets cold. So when it gets cold, they will go into cluster. And when they're in cluster, they won't break cluster to feed. So what might happen is you'll have your colony in cluster, and all around the outside of it, you'll have granulated ivy. But then on each side of that, and maybe in your roof where the fondant is, will be stores they can use, but they won't break that cluster in order to go over that ivy to get to the stores that they need, so they'll starve. And that's a real problem, and you won't necessarily know about it when you're hefting your hives, because the weight will feel good, but your bees are slowly starving. But I think it's only a worry when the temperatures get really low and they go into cluster. So that's when you really want to be keeping an eye on them, and it's that reason that I'm going to make a few modifications to my crown boards, which I'll talk about probably maybe in November or December when we come around to making them. So yeah, don't worry too much at the moment. It's only when it gets really cold they go into cluster, and that's when it could be a problem. That's when we need to maybe keep an eye on them. So the thing to do there is to kind of at this time of year is to have a little look in the top and maybe see where the cluster is. When I say in the top, like through the holes in the feeder, you know, you can remove them and see if you've got bees about and they're moving. So if they've got a cluster underneath one of your feeder holes, then if it does freeze, you can always put some food above them. And if it gets really, we do have quite a cold snap, then it's probably going to be beneficial to pop the crown board and see where they are and get some food over the top of them if we need to. But don't go into your hives just for the sake of it. Think, oh, I'll just check them because it's cold. There's numerous things you can do before you get to that stage. Have they been flying? If they've been flying, they'll get water and they'll turn the the ivy into nectar they can use. Has it been a long spell of cold? Can you look in the top and see them? So don't necessarily go in just on the sake of it. It's only when we get really worried, maybe later on in the season, which we'll talk about. So let's move on to this next one. Okay, so this is that little rescue we did. We've seen the queen in there. I want to have just a quick look, crack the crown board, see how they're growing, if they're growing at all, see what's going on. There's no weight in it at all, but then we wouldn't expect that because I suspect all the forage they're doing at the moment, they're just eating. Well, they've completely emptied, because this was their honey that we left them, and I've got a bit more there to give them back again. Because this feeder is it just basically sits on the outside and it gives the bees access underneath so they can get to that honey if they want to. They've taken all the feed down. Let's have a look. Oh, plenty of bees there though. Okay. It's just a bit too cold to be going and inspecting. It would be nice to see it because we didn't see eggs last time. We saw the queen, but no eggs. But there's plenty of bees in there, so it's a case of, you know, keep going. Soldier on, keep going. Right, let's give these some feed in the feeder. Okay, this is their honey that we took out of their hive. So we're just, here you go, look, they're all, if you can see that, they've all smelt it and they're all coming out for it, which is good. And there, that in there, that in there. We put this feeder was put on because we didn't have a small enough feeder to go on the top, but actually it's worked really, really well, because when I came in here, the comb that we'd put in last time was completely empty and there's no bees outside in this in the top here. But now we've put this honey out, you can see there's just enough room because it didn't quite fit, so it sits up on the side. So actually it's one of those things, you know, it wasn't supposed to work, but it has. So as I've said to you a number of times before, my crown boards are homemade because they have an eek permanently attached to them. So all they are is an eek with a board on, 2-inch hole in the centre, and then on the underside there's just a rim, a 6mm rim, which just gives me bee space. But it's exactly the same design that I use for when I do my clearers, my clearer boards. So all I have is one of these, which are really cheap to pick up, they're about £1, something like that, and they'll sit over that hole in the crown board, and then when the crown board's up the other way, there's the hole there with the supers on top, it acts as a clearer. And the good thing about it is you don't then have to put an eek on, because sometimes when your supers are really full, all those bees have got to go somewhere, so you tend to put an eek on to give them the space to go into. But because this already has it attached, and it's simples. So I'm going to change the design a little bit, because like with some of these, especially, I mean, I've had these for a few years and they've worked really, really well. But of course now, especially with the ivy this year, that we've seen on some of those, all the bees are at the front. So if I was to suddenly put some fondant on the top, but the cluster is here, they're not going to break that cluster to get to the feed. So what I'm going to do is come up with a design, something similar to the Abellos, where I've got like holes, you know. So what I'll probably do is have sort of 3 holes where I can then, wherever the cluster is, I can get to. But we'll do that November, December, when we're in the workshop, we'll come up with that. But what I've got currently at the moment is, this is the design, and as I say, it works well, and it'll be something similar to what we do. So in the roof, I have 1 inch of insulation, and that stays in there all year round. Normally it's stuck in there, but this one's has come unstuck, but that stays there all year round, summer and winter, in the roof, no problem. And then what we do in the winter is, we don't put this in the winter because that's ready then for feeders. Because what I'll do is over the hole, when it's not in use, I'll put a bit of Varroa mesh. But come winter, I'll put one of these in. So all it is this is 2-inch 50mm insulation with a square cut out the centre. with just a square cut out of the centre, and that stays in through the winter and keeps it really, really warm. And so that's what it looks like when it's in the hive. So underneath this square is the Varroa mesh, so I can remove this. What it means is if we're a bit unsure what the bee's doing, we can generally look down in that, and if we see the bees moving around, it just gives us a bit of confidence. So that's quite cool. But also the size of this square, it means I can put a takeaway container full of fondant upside down on there. So literally when they need fondant, remove that, put that in upside down, or if I'm using a bag of solid feed or whatever, they can go straight in there. So it keeps the insulation, but gives me access to the middle for feed. So there we are. So the new design will be similar. It'll still have the insulation, but the accesses might be in different places. I say we'll cover that next month. So yeah, so that's it. So that's what we've done. So at the moment we are removing feeders from some of them, those that don't need feed anymore, and replacing them with these ready for the winter. So that's it. We finished in the apiary. It didn't take that long, and it's just warmed up a little bit now this afternoon, and you can see the difference. I don't know if you can see it from there. The bees are flying. They're still bringing that ivy and still packing in. So nukes are all looking good. The pink one there is good. Oh. So again, I'm just running down. We're checking all the hives, got their straps back on, and all the lids are on straight, which they are. That's the rescue lot. Oh, bees flying in and out of there. And they're bringing in ivy, that's good. That's good. It would be lovely to know if there's some brood in there, but we'll see how that goes. So yeah, so that's it. That's that inspection completed. So we are down just checking out the other colony that we left on the pumpkins. Sorry about the noise. They do, you can see over the back there, they do the quad biking. Obviously having lots of fun over there. But this is, you can see with this where the pumpkins were, and there's still a bit of flowers left of the pumpkins. But what I've just noticed, in amongst the pumpkins, there's lots and lots of these plants. And I didn't know what they were. And apparently, I've just done, because I've got this thing on my phone that tells me what plants are, and it is called the apple of Peru, Nicandra physiolodes. That's my really poor attempt at Latin. Also known as the shoe fly plant, and apparently it does hold value to both for the bees in both nectar and pollen. And there's lots of it down here. They've obviously got it growing in amongst the patch, and over there where the sunflowers were as well. There's loads of it. So that's quite cool. So obviously, like I said, this place is just wonderful. Not sure about him. Not sure what's going on there. But so yeah, so I said this place is just wonderful for my bees with everything they do. Right. When we put that colony there, all this was wildflower. And it's all been topped now and cut down, so it's looking a little bit open, isn't it? But as soon as the weather changes, we'll move them from there. But they're flying. Let's go and check the weight and make sure they're okay. Okay, hopefully you can see me all right. So this is a typical winter in... Oh, Christ. Bloody hell. Yep, I think they've got plenty of food in them. All right, you stay there. That's it. That's my winter inspection done. Loads of weight in there. You can see from the front that they're all flying. Probably on that apple of Peru. That's a new plant for me. Hello, 19th of October, and we're in the honey house, and we are up here just labelling 1 or 2 jars up because our new labels have arrived. Let me show you. So there they are, look. So why have we gone for new labels? What was wrong with the old ones? Well, not a lot really. Let me show you. So there was nothing really wrong with my old labels. Everything lawfully that needed to be on there was on there, and I liked the design. There's nothing really wrong with the design. The only problem is that we've moved on a little bit, and I couldn't get hold of the person that did the design for me last time. So what we've done, we've got a new person on board. She's taken my design, because there was things, for example, like chunk honey I was doing, and other honeys I was doing in different sizes. So I needed different size labels and different labels. So she's done all that for me. So if I show you a side-by-side comparison, so you'll see there's not a huge amount of difference. This being the older one and this being the new one. So the basic design is exactly the same. The bee's changed ever so slightly. I think it's now got a kind of more Winnie the Pooh vibe going on. Slightly changed on the side, that it's a bit more clearer now on the side. But the big thing as well is what we've got on this side, which is we've now got our like socials, tells about socials, and it's got a QR code on it. So what the QR code does now is, so we've got all the information on there, the lawful information on there, but there, you know, sometimes you want to tell your customers more. You want to tell them what the difference between runny honey and soft set honey is, and so on. So you can do all that via the QR code. So they can go on there, they can read all about me and the company, they can read all about the different types of honeys, and it gives them a choice then as to what honey they might want to try. So we've changed. We did have a creamed honey, so the set hasn't changed much. They had the set, but then we were calling our soft set creamed honey. We now call that soft set. But now we also have a chunk honey, which is a different coloured label completely. And I'm still not 100% sure what I'm going to do with the cut comb yet, because the tamper label, I'm just not quite happy with it. So we might have to adjust that slightly. But we've also got the cut comb, but it all sort of follows the same lettering and same wording and the same branding. You know, they're all different colours. So they're easily identifiable. So we've still got loads of the old runny honey labels left, which we'll still use. But we'd run out of some of the 12-ounce set honey, and we were out of the soft set honey labels completely. So because we wanted to use the new ones with the QR code, obviously we need to get some photographs now, some nice photographs of all the jars, in order that when people do go onto that QR code and have a look, it looks right. So basically what I've done is I've got just a sample of all the labels just to put on, so I can start taking these photographs. But some of the labels, like the runny honey labels, for example, they'll be around for quite a while yet, because I bought them in the thousands. So yeah, so that's quite good. So the next job of the day is to get some nice photographs of these. So the things you never thought you'd be doing as a beekeeper. We're taking photographs of the honey at the moment. This light box is what the boss lady uses to take photographs of her pottery stuff when it's done. So we've borrowed that, and we use that, and we're just trying to get some really nice photographs of the honey to put on that for when you look on the QR code, which, by the way, if you want to and I will put on a couple of these photographs onto this video, so you can have a little click on the QR code and see what you think. Right, so the beauty about doing it yourself is you can take thousands of photographs and delete 999 of them. Right, so anyway, that's what we're doing. Let's get on with it. Morning, ladies. Oh, you've had a haircut. You must be cold. Morning, 25th of October, and we're just up at the new apiary, just doing some checks. So they use my, let me show you this. So they use my fence as a scratching post. Can you see the hairs in it? But at the moment, the ram's been in. I don't know if he still is. But the ram had been here, sort of servicing the ladies. But he's got his paint on him so that they know which ladies have been serviced. Well, obviously, look, they've been up here scratching, and you can see all the all the paint on the bottom row of the fence there. Anyway, the reason we're up here is to do our just our checks, make sure the girls are all right. In particular, the green one, we probably need to feed that, and we have brought some fondant up if we need to. Maybe take the feeder away. The blue one is blocked. We're taking that away. That's one of the reasons we came up, because we want to get that melted out and sorted out and cleaned up. And then the other two should be fine. So yeah. So we got back from the honey show the weekend, yesterday. That was a really, really good weekend. Enjoyed that. Well, I say weekend, it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But that was quite good. So we got our new wax melter. And we picked up our wax, and we picked up our jars and things like that. So that was good. And obviously we got to be around a load of beekeepers. But anyway, what I've done is I've done a separate video on that, so that if you've never been to the honey show before, you can see what that's all about. So I won't say any more about that in this video, but that's now been released. You can go and watch that. And the other thing we did, we picked up a wax melter from Tectron UK. So again, well, I'm in the process, so I'm going to use it today. We'll do a review and we'll get that out as well. Right, let's get this apiary done. Okay, so I don't know about where you are, but these wasps had a sort of resurgence later in the season, and they just don't seem to have gone away. They're very placid, they're very docile. Can't be much longer. Another couple of cold spells and surely they'd have been done. But this colony here in particular is really struggling. I lifted the other two up, that one and especially that one, and they're just doing so well. They're like they're nailed to the stand. But this one, when I lifted it, it just felt like there's nothing in it. So they've taken all the feed down, but there is still a colony of bees now. I had a quick look in the top. So what I'm going to do is, I can only live just over there. I'm going to nip home. I'm going to get a nuke box because it's warm today, and I'm going to transfer, because they're only on about 3 or 4 frames. I'm going to transfer them into a nuke box, and then tonight I'll come and move that nuke box, and we'll take it to another apiary and see if we can't get these girls through. So that's what I'm going to go and do. So we've done that. We took. There was 3 frames of bees in there, and actually, when I looked at them, there's brood in all stages. There was some stores around the actual brood, so not as actually bad as I thought it was, and they look quite good. But they are going to be much better in that nuke box for the winter. And all we need to do now is come up later. There's a few of them out flying. We'll come up later. We'll close it down, and we'll take that away to another apiary. So that'll be all right. And the other 2 are great. So I put my bee. I didn't put any gloves on because I knew it wouldn't take long. I didn't light a smoker, and which is this time of year. With this temperature, they could be a bit grumpy. But I didn't light a smoker. I didn't put any gloves on, but I did slip my jacket on, but didn't do it up just in case I did need a veil. I had it. So I did all that. I swapped all the bees over. They're ever so chuffed with myself that my bees were nice and calm, and I've got nice calm bees, and I got away with doing that. Wandered back over to the truck, put my hand in my pocket, and there was a bee in there, and got stung on the hand. So that serves me right for being so smug. But there we go. So that's this little apiary done. Let's go and have a look at this wax melter. So now we are back from the honey show, and we've got our wax melter. It's now time to get on with cleaning boxes, which for me, I don't know about you, takes a few days. Don't do it all at once, but it takes a few days. I'll try and do the wax melting all at the same time, because it takes a lot to heat the wax melter up, sort of anything up to an hour and a half to get it up to speed for the first lot to be done, and then it's sort of 15 minutes, half an hour, so you want that going all day really, or till you've got all your wax melted. But when that's done and the frames come out, you need boxes to put those frames in once they're dry. And also, as you're going through your boxes, if you've got frames that are not going to be melted, you need to put in. So you sort of got to run that, clean up your boxes at the same time. So as well as that going on, we're also cleaning up some boxes. So here, let me show you. So I've got this where I don't know whether my favourite boxes are wooden, or I don't know whether my favourite boxes are poly. On balance, I think it's poly, from the bees' point of view, because the bees seem to do much better in the poly, and I seem to get a better honey crop out of the poly. I don't tend to feed them so much in the poly, so from that point of view it's good. However, where the wooden comes into its own is it doesn't get damaged so easily because it's not poly, and it's much easier to clean because the poly has to go into chemicals. So you want to be doing as much poly as you possibly can when you've got your chemical vat bath going. You want to clean it all at once, whereas wooden boxes you can clean as you go, and even if it's just one at a time, you can get away with it. So all you have to do first of all is scrape them. So when you come to scraping your boxes, the best thing I've found for scraping is a hive tool, but don't hold the hive tool that way and use that end for scraping, because you're more likely to dig into your wood. I mean, there's sometimes you've got to use that end to get in there, but when it comes to doing edges, don't use that edge. If you've got one of these hive tools with that sort of edge on it, and what you want to do is have that, but it won't do Nosema. So the only way you can really get this Nosema done is through chemical solution or through burning. So once you've scraped your boxes, you then need to scorch them, and I'll show you how we do that. So freezing will kill a lot of diseases. So if you've got one of these chest freezers, and you can put put your frames in there and your boxes in there, and you put them in there, leave it in there for a length of time. It all depends what the disease is, but usually rotating through 24 hours is fine, and that'll kill pretty much all the diseases, but it won't do Nosema. So the only way you can really get this Nosema done is through chemical solution or through burning. So once you've scraped your boxes, you then need to scorch them, and I'll show you how we do that. You can get a big old blowtorch, but these work just as well. Yeah, you pick these up from Screwfix. I think that's 30-40 quid, something like that. And then the cans are a tenner, and it's best to buy the bigger cans just because there's more in it and it's a bit cheaper. And then all you've got to do is, once you've got your flame going, you won't be able to see that, but there's a flame going on that. And you've just got to make sure all the parts that the bees are going to touch is what you want scorched, and give it a good scorching. You're not tickling it. See how it's catching the light, especially in the corners and all the nooks and crannies. And then you end up burning all that wax and propolis off. It smells wonderful. And that's it. So that's it. Once it's burnt like that, that's good now to be used again if you want to. Some people give it a bit of a rub down. What I probably will do later in the season, in the winter should I say, I'll just give it a quick rub, lightly rub it down on the inside and the outside, and just give it a new lick of paint. Although this one is quite good, it doesn't need a lick of paint. So I'll just scorch up because I've already cleaned them and scraped them, I'll just scorch up the rest of this hive. So it's the 28th of October, and I just can't believe what this season's been like. So we're up at the new apiary. The nuke there, if you remember, that's the colony that wasn't doing so well. So I've just been watching that for a little bit, and the nice thing is it's bees that are going in and out with ivy pollen and ivy, which is really nice, and I've not seen any wasps going yet, so that's good. But we've had a look at the weather forecast. Bit rubbish for the rest of the week, so we've brought the strimmer up. We got a spare hour and a half. We're just going to do some strimming in this apiary and get it knocked down a bit. So that's the plan for today. So that's that done. Well, that'll take about an hour, I suppose. We had to go over it twice. It's pretty long. Just goes to show though, doesn't it, with an out apiary, you also need a means to maintain it. So I'm fortunate, I've got some cordless tools, cordless lawnmower, cordless strimmer, and it's good. It's only a small area because they're not really meaty enough for the job, but they're just about square it away in this little apiary. So there we go, that's that done. Move on to the next job. So that was a good day today, beekeeping wise. I had a few things on this morning. But we got loads of tidying up done, and we got the new apiary. We got the grass cut and things like that. So that's really cool. And the other thing is, forgive me if I'm sniffing. I'm full of cold. And the other thing is, we're back in here now for this melting wax and cleaning boxes. So this area that I've got outside for working is great. You know, just wish it was a bit bigger. But because it's not a bit bigger, I just need to get myself more organised, because the new Tectron UK wax melter is a great bit of kit. And you'll see I've done a review on that. So I used to have a brood box with a steamer kind of DIY thing made for it from an old wallpaper stripper. And that did the job really, really well. I had that 5-6 years. But obviously where that wooden has got expanded, contracted, it's got so many holes in it now and splits that it's not really doing what it's supposed to anymore, which is why we invested in this. The issue I've got with this is it's too good. Not good in what it can do, although it's very, very good and it does what it's supposed to do. The actual melt time is probably on a par with what my older steam melter used to be like. But where this comes into its own is just the sheer quantity of that basket, how much you can get in there. So in the old system, I could get 12 in. In here, well, it says 15 frames, but I put something like, well, put it this way, I got over 30 super frames done through it and a load of junk wax. So I think you could get 22 brood frames in there easy. So it's working twice as hard. The problem is then when the frames come out and you scrape them clean into the basket, it's really efficient. You just empty the basket into your compost bin. That's really cool. However, this is still going. And what you ideally want, because of the electricity and everything else, you want this to be used as much as it possibly can be. So I think I'm going to have to invest in a second basket and just rotate them through. And the other thing you really want to do on this is it takes 90 minutes-ish for the first lot to go through. Then everyone after that, between 20 and 30 minutes. So the other thing that I used to do, I've got a box to steam my frames in. So I used to get them out of the steamer, the wax melter, clean them up and put them straight in there. And I used to be able to rotate them through. It was a bit, I had to work quite fast to get it done, but we managed to do it. No way, not with it. I haven't got the steam box. I can't get the frames through quick enough to make up with, to keep up with this. That's not a problem. All we've had to do is rethink what we're going to do. So what we're doing is when the frames come out, we're giving them a screw. We did then just tying them in packs of 10, because I get about 12 frames in that steam box, and I'll show you that when I come to do it. So 10 on top of each other, then 2 down the side. So I'm just putting them in blocks of 10 ready to go in there, and I'll do that on a different day because there's always other things to be doing whilst I'm melting or steaming the frames. So this was as I said, it's a great area, but along here when it's raining, it gets wet, and on the entrance over here, it gets wet. So it's only that area there. So it wasn't a case that I needed to do anything really different. I just needed to get more efficient because rotating all these boxes through are just running out of space. So we've got now, you probably can't see it, but I've got a stack of, so we've got a stack of poly over here. It's poly nukes, poly boxes. These all have to go in the, the chemical solution, which we'll do later on in the year. Now, I normally wait for the spring to do that, but I've got a feeling I might need some of these boxes in the spring. So I think we're going to have to bite the bullet and get a load of these done and then maybe do a small amount just for the nukes that are out there in the springtime. So all the poly is stacking up here quite neatly. Then all the timber work, when it comes out, I've then got the time to deal with that, to scrape it and torch it whilst this is still going. So I can get the wooden stuff done. That can then go into the workshop ready for painting or sorting out, and then getting the boxes put back together ready for the spring. And what I do there is I've got my brood boxes. I put frames in, but I don't actually wax them. I don't wax them till sort of February, March time, till I actually need them. So what we do, we get the frames made. So they'll all be stacked up in there. All the supers will be stacked up and everything ready for the season. So it's a case of this area here. It's a case of getting the wax done and melting and scraping and all that kind of stuff in one day, and then doing a steam on a different day. So yeah, so it's working quite well. We're kind of getting used to working with our wax melter now, which is a really good bit of kit. So we've got a cup of coffee. It's a case of we've got a bit of time. And the beauty about that is, so I want to get this little lot here is queen excluders. And you know what queen excluders are like? They're a bit of a pain to scrape and torch. So I want to get a load of those done. And throughout the week, I've got the odd hour here and there where I'll be able to do that. And then come the weekend on one day, we'll just have a whole day of getting the wax melted. Right, let's crack on. So apologies, I never got any more filming done on the tail end of October. This cold got the better of me, sort of knocked me out for a couple of days. So hopefully we're over the worst of it now. But we're already hit to November. So I need to end the October episode. So we'll finish October there. But if you come back in November, you'll see me stood in exactly the same place starting the November episode. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you're getting something from it, and we'll see you on the next one.